What's happening? What's up? What's up, everybody? Jukebox Ginger here, your host of Stardom, was a good buddy of mine, Tony Shannon. Tony, what's fuck's happening, man?
Not much, man. Just Dylan and I have been hanging out, sitting by the fire, regaling each other with the stories of yore. Just fucking, all that shit.
Yeah, of course, man. It's been a little while since we hung out, and by the way, everybody, we just kind of threw this together. It wasn't planned.
Nope.
I had a few skits that I had lined up for some episodes, and we figured, what the fuck, let's do it. So we're drinking some Boulevard Hazy.
Boulevard wheat.
Can't see, guys.
You gotta get more Casey than that. Just gotta I need a fucking loser rag on my chest, and I'm good to go. Pick your team. It sucks either way.
Did you have to work today?
I'm off Wednesdays and Thursdays, so
Yeah,
so I get to chill. I kind of I treat my days off as I'm very go with the flow when I don't have things to do. So it's kind of I wake up whenever the fuck I wake up, and then if I had something planned, I'll do that. Otherwise, I'll just kind of float around my house, and if I feel like leaving, or the reason I'm here is literally just because I was like, oh shit, I had something planned and then it didn't work out, and I was like, oh, I can go, never mind, I can.
That's probably one of my favorite things. Not really, it's very fucking annoying. But when you have something planned, and then out of nowhere you're like, shit, it's not happening. And then last second they're like, oh, actually we're gonna go ahead and do it.
Yeah, sorry. I got I said this earlier, but I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to that stuff. Like somebody messages me and I'm just like excited about it, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it, and then shit doesn't work out the way I thought it would. And I'm very all over the place.
Did I tell you I'm doing the employee club again?
Oh, really?
Yeah. But this time, so I'm the president, but I'm not attached to anything. Like, my name's not on anything. We actually have a debit card.
Thank God. Why were they even doing shit?
Dude, I have no clue.
They had so many opportunities.
They told me about the debit card. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll help. That's fine. Whatever. So we're actually talking about doing it.
Ours got disbanded.
It's done.
It's gone. Nobody wanted to do it, so they just disbanded it.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah,
because why would you?
Interest? Yeah. Like, we were doing cool shit. People just weren't interested. The store I'm at now, everybody's like, "That's cool as fuck."
Yeah.
Like, Great Wolf Lodge.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. I'm like, it was a great idea.
It was. nobody, and you weren't even there because you broke your arm or whatever it was.
This was my leg. I was out for 2.5 months.
It was your leg. That's right. Okay, I couldn't remember, but yeah, you were out for like a while, and so you didn't. So then I'm standing there with like 5 managers staring at me like let's get this shit going. I'm like, fuck. And
Where's that?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, this is the first time I ever did this. You gotta lower your expectations just slightly. I mean, it went okay, but yeah, nobody swam or did anything. They just showed up for the dinner.
Tyler was the only one who brought his family with him.
Yeah. So then the guys from Great Wolf were looking at me like, like we thought you were bringing all these people. And I'm like, I thought I was bringing these people too. Like, I don't fucking know. Go bitch them.
I think PowerPoint is a bigger turnout for
them. Stupid. Work shit.
Yeah, work shit. It's a part of the reason why I started this show, man. Just being able to vent about things.
Oh, I get it.
Not just this, fucking my wife, just reviewing Amazon reviews. Like, she's constantly reading reviews on Amazon, or like reading comments on TikTok, and like some of it's so off the wall. I was like, dude, that's perfect for a show. Like, people don't think about it, or like they don't read that much into it. In this show, like when I pick my topics, like I told you earlier, I search Reddit and blogs, which everyone's like, oh, that's easy. No, it's really not. Like, because there'll be 20 different threads on similar concepts, and you'll see the same fucking stories in all of them. So you have to really dig for the good comments, which is what I do.
Well, actually, one of the rare times that my dad and I ever had like a thing that we were like in, like an internet joke that we were on, because he's kind of dumb. Like he's kind of dumb, and we make fun of him for it all the time. Like I don't mean to like talk shit about him, but like he's just not. He's a simple guy. Like you put a beer in his hand and put him on a mower in the backyard, and he's fucking happy for the next 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he'll cop to it. He knows he's not like he has no aspirations higher than just fucking swinging golf balls in his backyard or some shit. So like the one time that he and I were like in on an internet meme at the same time was the Three Wolf Moon thing on Amazon, if you remember that.
Yes.
And dude, he bought me the shirt and everything. I still fucking have it in my closet. Like it was so hilarious. We were just like texting each other back and forth like on this. So like
yeah.
So I'm saying that because like I kind of get the concept that you're going for, because in a way, because and I've been a part of that too in some ways.
Yeah, and I've had shows where I actually picked memes because just the beard one I did with
yeah.
Big
I did catch
Grizz,
that.
shout out to you,
I caught
man.
that one.
But yeah, it was a good episode, and half of them were memes, half of them were just like random stupid facts about beards, you know?
Yeah.
And it's grown, man. I've had some pretty cool people on. But today, have you
not
ever,
as cool as me?
This fucker right here, viral.
Forget Howard Stern people and shit. How about a dude from Kansas you've never heard
of? You ever like done something stupid where you like for me, for example, I trip going up the stairs.
You know? Yeah.
And I don't even think about it. I just fucking do it. Or like I'll be on the phone and I'm freaking out about something, but I'm just like I'm holding it. Like while I'm freaking out on the phone. You ever done anything like that?
Well, I have ADHD, so like that is my life essentially. I just drove. See, I can't even fucking speak correctly. How about that? How about that? Catch me outside.
Catch you outside. How about that? There's a perfect example.
So, I guess I'll retell the story for the viewing pleasure of whoever might be watching. But like, I just got in a fucking accident, and I ran through a stop sign, and the lady was so goddamn nice that like it was just kind of weirding me out, because I'm sitting there like, oh my god, I just fucking ran into this person and I'm such a piece of shit and all this stuff, and she's just like, oh man, I should have braked harder or something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, brake harder? Like, how do you avoid me hitting you? Like, here I am, like a dumbass with my hair flying in the wind, just fucking barreling through stop signs, and she's just like, oh, that was all on me. I'm like, fuck no, you got this shit twisted. This is definitely my fault.
No, see, I was
she's like, no, honey.
Right.
And she's like, no, honey, and I'm like, no, man, like, it's cool. But fucking now I got a big ass dent in the front of my car, so like that's just the shit. This is how I live. I'm fucking running stop signs and catching bitches off with autographs and shit.
Well, that's the topic for today. Just being in your mind, just doing stupid shit off a whim, like just everyday tasks that people do, not realizing that it's just dumb until they do something so stupid. Like, holy shit, did I just do that? So I picked 7 stories, and we're gonna go ahead and kick it off.
And accidentally picked the perfect guess.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
You ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
I could tell I was getting sick one time, and so I decided to make a really nice chicken stock to have some soup later in the week. Chicken bones, carrots, onions, you name it. It had been cooking for about 3 hours by the time it was done. Then I drained it through a colander straight up into the sink.
Fucking hours of effort just
down the drain.
Like, what do you get the payout? Just fucking salty tears, and that's it.
3 hours, man. Just I can imagine like being damn near like bedridden and like having to make your own soup. just like
Harry,
bones aching.
Harry, do you feel like a piece of shit already? Because now you definitely do.
I'd be like sticking my head in the sink, like trying to get that smell, that delicious soup that I just drained.
Just stick your head in a little bit further and hit the fucking switch. It probably solve all your problems.
Yeah, I've actually, I can't really think of anything in particular, but I know for a fact there's been several times I've strained things, and then like I poured too fast or whatever, and like just shit overflows and runs into the sea.
I've never done shit like that. I use expensive ingredients. So I'm fucking like, you give me that shit back. I'm going in and getting that all back.
Saran wrap the sink before you strain everything.
Yeah, dude. Like one little shred of my Parmesan cheese goes down the drain, and I'm like, no. Oh, should be damned.
What company made this strainer? I'm calling it. This is fucking ridiculous.
Class action lawsuit incoming. So you put too many holes in your colander? I thought that was the point.
This says this is 0.01 inches in diameter over here of a circle. That's clearly way over that. There's no way. That noodle is definitely not that wide. It went right through it.
Oh, excuse me. No.
Early one morning, I put the car in reverse and started to back out of the garage before opening the garage door.
Join the club, man.
What was that? I was in middle school, and my mom had an old Ford Focus. It was a stick shift, and she told me to go warm it up. And it wasn't in the garage; it was in front of the garage.
Right.
Well, I didn't realize that it needed to be in neutral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was, and when she turned it off, and she left it first.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned it on and fucking went to go get it out. Fucking right to the garage door, man.
Holy shit.
The whole
Really
thing collapsed on the hood. And my mom comes running outside. She's like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "I started the car."
We had the situation at my parents' house when I was still living with them forever ago. That like this is when I was a teenager, probably, I think. And so our next door neighbor was cool with us. We fucking hated everybody else. They were all total assholes. But he was cool with us. So like we had a mutual bonding over like how shitty our neighbors were, except for him. And so he would let us like park in his driveway sometimes and shit if we needed to or whatever.
Yeah.
So my dad would go over there and I would take care of his fish and shit and whatever. It's just like, you know, whatever he needed. And so my dad would actually park over on that side, and so sometimes basically, you know, essentially his car wasn't always in our driveway. So I get up to go to work at like, you know, 6 in the morning or some shit, and or like school or whatever, and I get in the fucking car and I start backing out, and I'm just like half asleep and shit, and I just start backing out and I just go right in the front of his car.
And his car.
So, and then what I did to try to cover it up, is I got out and I like ran in and I switched keys and I got into his car and I like moved it over to the other driveway, like up against the garage, so he wouldn't see it right away. And then I got in my fucking car and drove the fuck off and got out of there. And later on, sure enough, he's just like, "You fucking back into my car?" I was like, no. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I was this is like the same year I got my driver's license or my permit, whatever. And I went like 2 blocks over to get my sister, middle of fucking blizzard weather. And I go to the person's house. I don't even know who the hell they were. But lived on a hill, like their driveway was on a hill, and you backed out to the other side of the street. Well, there was so much snow, I didn't realize this fucking snow-covered car was on the other side of the street.
Right.
So I just go barreling out of the driveway after my sister gets in the car, and just wham right to the side of this yellow-ass Mustang.
Shit.
And I mean, I fucking her, and we both looked around, and she's just, and I'm like, yeah, don't tell mom. And we just took off. I know that's shitty, but I mean, come on. When you're 16, it is.
I've had surprisingly few accidents for somebody with my particular brain function. Like this last one I had was like the first one in like 7 years, 9 years even. So I was like, damn. One before that though, I ran a stoplight, same as the stop sign. And I fucking like I again reached down to like turn the radio or some shit and just fucking like had to like like the slow motion and like Max Payne games or some shit like that.
Yes.
Like or like GTA 5 has that thing where Franklin does the fucking so I was sitting there just like kicking up my jams like sipping on gin and juice. I'm like, oh shit. So I had to pull that shit and just try to fucking I swerved around like 5 cars and tried to swerve back and unfortunately the fucking it was this bright yellow like Jeep Wrangler or some shit and it was like she looked like she was probably like freshly 16 or something and I just fucking like right in her. And she got out and she's like jumping up and down in my face and yelling, and I just kind of sat there like this because I was just like, okay. And then her mom showed up and she was a lot nicer and shit. But yeah, I have a history of this shit as it turns out.
I've told this story in some previous ones. But I worked at the tire center, and this kid, clearly 18, 19, lived with mom still, and he blew out a tire, and he came in on a spare. They bought a whole new set of tires. We're working on them, and we call because like we're looking for the extra wheel, the other wheel, the fourth wheel to put the tire on. We can't find it anywhere, so we call, and the mom answers, and we're like, "Hey, we're doing the set tires, and we can't find the fourth wheel." So you hear her yelling to her son in the background, "Hey, where the fuck?" Oh, we left it on the side of the highway. We thought they replaced the wheels, and you just hear her go, "What the fuck? You just left it on the side of the." It's littering too on top of everything.
Jesus.
And he's just like, well, yeah, we can go get it. And she's like, yeah, you better fucking believe we're going to go get it. So of course he brings it back. It's bent, cracked, and everything. There's no way we're putting it.
I've heard some crazy stories from that part.
It's funny, but they both get there. They're clearly like on weed. Even the mom, like they're obviously stuck.
Right.
Whatever, each your own. But the kid was a little bit more than stuff.
Probably all took it up together, man. I had some really close friends of mine. Their mom was kind of like that. She bought me my first alcohol when I was like 14, and so like it was what it was like shitty fucking McCormick vodka, and we just poured it in and like covered up the nasty ass taste with like some Coke or whatever.
No.
For whatever reason I had like 5 of those in a row and I couldn't fucking get drunk for whatever reason. But like, God, that shit was so horrible. And it was just really like when I look back on it now, it's just really weird when you're like, yep, I'm going over. I'm 14 and I'm just gonna go over to my friend's house and his mom's gonna just take my money and go buy me fucking McCormick vodka, dude. This is weird shit. It's fucking weird crap that went on in that house all the time. But yeah.
All right, next up. When my son was a baby, he was an absolute awful sleeper. I was exhausted. One night, I get woken up with the sound of him crying through the baby monitor. So I get up and go into his room, and I'm holding him to my chest, rocking him from side to side to stretch him and get him back to sleep. I became aware that I could still hear him crying, but from further away, it took me a minute to realize that I hadn't actually gone into him, but had picked up the monitor and was holding and rocking it.
This is why I don't have kids. Get that fucking sleep deprivation crazy shit.
Dude,
you would know more from experience.
I don't know how many times. So my daughter, she'll go to bed, or she'll either take a late nap, or she'll go to bed at like 10 o'clock, and then she'll wake up at 2 in the morning for whatever fucking reason, and she'll just be up for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And my wife, she'll go to sleep. She usually goes to bed late, but when she's out, she's out. So I wake up to damn near any noise. And I mean, it'll be anything from her drink being empty or
right, just whatever
turned on,
whatever the need is,
just whatever. And she doesn't care. She just screams for it.
Right.
Or she'll come to the room and wake you up.
Yeah, I tell you what, like my wife and I, like we've been together like it's like 8.5 years now. So like it's been a while, and we've talked about it many times, like because of her condition a little bit, and like kind of sketchy on whether or not it'd be a good idea. but also just like, man, nothing gets rid of that baby craze like than going to fucking Walmart and hearing.
You don't even go to Walmart,
like,
just go to Arbor.
just to anywhere. I'm just saying, you just go anywhere, and I'm just like, damn, nah, because you could have that. I have that moment often where like I just like stare into her eyes and be like, you should be the mother of my children, and then and that shit happens. It's like a real feeling, and it feels really cool in the moment. And then later on, I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? like, mommy, mommy, mommy.
Well, I haven't had the experience to that depth.
Right.
Like my kids have never gotten to the point where they're throwing a tantrum like that.
Right.
I mean, I definitely know what you're talking about. Actually, anybody listening to this probably knows what we're talking about. But that's like, I feel like that's more on the parents' side, not the kids. Like it's not the kid's fault that doesn't know that that's not okay.
Well, even just the whole thing of like having a kid for me, just me personally and my wife too. We've talked about it. Is like you kind of have to just be like all the things you were like growing up and being like, I'm gonna do this and that. You just kind of have to be like, fuck all that. You know what I mean? Like forget all that shit.
Where's your diary at, babe?
Yeah. Just like your hopes and dreams are dead now.
That positive test is all you need to know.
Like, forget about all the dreams of stardom and shit. And if you like your fucking your wallet's gone, everything, it's just all that shit. So it's like, I can imagine if I had the kid already, I'd be like, this is worth it. But beforehand, it's very hard for me to imagine like just not being able to do what I want to do and go where I want to go and all that shit. And like whether that sounds selfish to somebody or not, I don't really give a shit. It's just that I operate in a certain way where that would be weird for me no matter what, Mm-hmm. So that's just and it sucks because sometimes you're like, yeah, man, I could shit out greatness if I wanted to. Like, you fucking give me two of them, like,
but then like when you babysit somebody else, if they're being assholes, you're like, go the fuck home. Like, that's cool. When it's your kid, you can't do that.
They're stuck with them. They ain't paying rent. Yeah.
What do you mean you just shit in the corner? Did you just smear your shit on the wall?
Did that happen ever?
Somebody else's house.
Somebody else's?
Yeah. While we were just hanging out, their kid just goes and runs their hand. They just stick it down their diaper, and they look at us. We're just all hanging out, and just comes in the room all awkwardly, like clearly something happened. Shoves their hand, they're fucking around in their ass crack, and then you just see him go. Drag shit on the wall.
I'm gonna just at the risk of like quoting another comedian I've seen, but like I saw something where I saw a bit that somebody did, I think, where they were talking about how like kids just don't have that kids don't have that like inner voice that says I shouldn't do that. It's just the impulsive, like right away, like they all have that thing where they just think about it and then they fucking do it. And it's just like it's kind of environable actually in a way.
It is. I mean, just think if we were adults and we just didn't care. Like I don't know how many times I've been working my ass off on the at work, and like we're just getting our gas tank, some holding, my shit or whatever. If we had the mindset of a kid, we're just like, well, if I can't go anywhere, I'm just going to go right here in my pants. Helping a member. What are you looking for again? Oh yeah. Part of the smell, I shit myself.
Right.
There's shit in my pants right now.
Well, and for me, like the band I was in for like 6 or 7 years, that was a bit of a struggle for me too. It was like because I kind of want to be that kid that smears the shit on the wall all the time. Like that is what's happening in my head 24/7. But like you're a fucking adult, and so then there's that secondary reaction where you're like, nah, like the club owner was really nice to me. I shouldn't just rip the fucking lights out of the stage, and shit like that. I shouldn't just. There was this one time I went on stage and like, for whatever reason, I just wanted to burn something. Like, so I pulled out. I was like, hey, do you have $1 and a lighter? Like to my wife, and I was gonna go up and do it, and I fucking chickened out because I was just all because just this shit goes around in my head where it's like It's like, oh man, that would be so cool. But what if I fucking, I light the thing on fire, it goes flying in somebody's face, and then they run into the wall, and then fucking the whole club starts on fire, and then they're gonna be pointing at me like, hey, it was that asshole. And it just sucks because it was like a statement I wanted to make. So like going forward, I've been kind of trying to think of myself as more of that fucking kid, right? Like in the right scenario, because I don't want to be scared to like do the shit I want to do.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
too. And that's a cool thing about this show. I'm the host.
Right.
I can decide when I have guests on, I try to kind of cater them in a way. Like, if I have somebody really cool on and they just don't cuss, I'll back off.
Right.
Stuff like that. But it's whatever I want, man. I talk about whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And I don't really care if it offends people. Like, I want people to listen. And if it offends you, by all means, don't listen. But I've tried doing an episode where I held back, and it just didn't sound right.
It doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't.
Yeah, you just gotta be you in these scenarios, for sure. And that's what I'm saying is like I'm the fucking kid who wants to set the fucking stage on fire, but I just get I'm sorry, I'm trying to mitigate the right balance for that shit.
I told you I wanted to do the Flat Earth episode. I don't want to talk too much about it right now because there is going to be an episode coming up. But I was thinking about reaching out to one of the main guys from the Flat Earthers Society. But it's funny because I've listened to some of his other interviews.
Right.
And he's such a nice guy. He's just so full of himself. Like he's not open to the idea that he's just full of shit.
Like
I don't want to hurt.
Not so much just the possibility that he could be wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really, if he's on, I'm gonna fucking drill him. And I don't know if I want to hurt his feelings. He's a nice guy, But that's just the consciousness of me.
Right. I mean, it's important to have your ideas challenged and shit, though. So I don't know. Like, hopefully, I'm sure being a flat earther, you have to fucking deal with that on a pretty consistent basis.
And the best part is like, what's the worst?
You can't have thin skin being a flat earther.
The worst thing they're gonna do, hang up on me. I mean,
whatever.
But I'm never gonna see you anyways. All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure.
Once I met some friends at a restaurant a few blocks from my house. I parked on the street right in front of the place. After we ate, we walked over to Dairy Queen, walking right past my car in the process. I then proceeded to walk home from Dairy Queen, got home, and realized, where the fuck's my car?
I don't know why, but that reminds me of like a drug story that I've had in my pocket for many years because it's one of my favorites. With this guy named his name's Darren, but everybody called him Dorito for some reason.
Okay.
Like and Dorito doesn't even know how he got to be called Dorito. Like, I asked him about it one time, and like I was like, so like your name's Darren, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, but everybody calls you Dorito, and I'm like, what the fuck's up with that? It's like, I don't know, man. Like, so apparently like I had to ask like 8 other people, nobody else knew either, and but then finally somebody's like, oh yeah, we all got high one time and just started calling me Dorito. And it was just like it just stuck.
Come up with something more clever, man.
But I still have no idea if that was like the actual story because nobody could fucking figure it out, and he wouldn't tell me either. So, but so yeah, Dorito and I were over at this these 2 other people. I have no idea who they were, and I only met them that one time, so I don't know their names or anything. And I got drunk very soon after I got there, so I don't remember them barely at all. I just know it was their house, and Dorito and I showed up, and we got hammered on fucking like Jose Cuervo, and I can't still to this day I can't drink that shit anymore since then. It's just fucking horse piss crap. Like I've actually had really good tequila since, and I can drink that straight. But man, Cuervo is
Milagro.
Really?
You ever had Milagro?
Herradura is the one that I've been into.
I'm not a tequila fan. I just remember when I've had it.
Yeah.
Milagro was because I've gotten drunk off of Jose and fucking a couple of other ones, but I don't drink it anymore.
Right.
I haven't drank it in years. The problem is I get drunk and then I'm wide awake for 8 hours, don't remember any of this, so I don't drink it.
Well, this was definitely not that. This was like Dorito. So Dorito and I like pound a bunch of stuff. This is the first time I ever tried training wheels too. which I discovered quickly I hate because it's like not only are you pouring fucking this just horse shit like acid crap down your throat, then you get oh yeah, let me fucking take salt and lime directly on my tongue afterwards. Like that's a great idea. Uh, so I'm like not having a good time and with that and shit. But I'm there to get drunk, so we take like 7, 8 shots or whatever. I'm feeling good and buzzed and shit, and I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. And I look at Dorito and I'm like, damn, fuck, I'm really hungry. And he goes, fuck, I'm hungry too. So we get up and we're like, guys, we're hungry, and they're like, oh, we're not hungry. They're like, but we're fucking hungry. So we start walking out the door, and I was like, so where do you think we're going? And he's like, I don't know. There's a Waffle House in the street. And I was like, okay, fuck it. Yeah. So we walk up there. We start walking down, and I shit you not, something about being that drunk like just slows down time to the point where I fucking like I swear this event probably took 45 minutes, but it feels like it was 3 or 4 hours to me in my memory. And so like just this endless just fucking walk down this street, and I don't know when we started or when we ended, but like along the way we're just like so drunk that we're like, man, I love you, man. And he's like, yeah, I love you too. And I'm like, yeah, but I really love you, man. And we just kept going back and forth like that for what felt like ages until we reached a stop sign. And we were both like, man, this just took forever. And we sat down at the stop sign and fucking like just chilled there for like 15 minutes and watered the horses and shit. And we get up. Finally, we're like, all right, let's go. And we get up and we finally make it to Waffle House after what felt like maybe 2 hours. And we get in there and we're trying to talk. I realize how drunk we are at that moment. Just like the weird self-awareness creeps in, and I'm like, oh fuck, we're gonna be loud as shit when we walk in there. So I look at Dorito. I'm like, shh, we gotta be real quiet. And he's like, oh yeah, we gotta be super quiet. And I'm like, okay, man, let's do this. And I'm sure we bust in and everybody's fucking looking at us. So I know immediately we failed, like because like all of our must have been like, hey man, you gotta be real quiet.
That's probably how it went.
So I fucking sat down and I ordered biscuits and gravy. And it was even through drunkenness, like Waffle House has the worst biscuits and gravy you will ever taste. And even me being like my tongue was completely numb, and I could still even be like, this is pretty bad. Like this is pretty vile. So like we sat there for a minute, probably being loud as fuck. Everybody's still staring at us the entire time I'm eating. I'm like uncomfortable trying to stuff this shit down my throat. and then immediately after I finished the thing, I fucking feel rumble in my stomach and I go throw up in the bathroom and shit. And so then we fucking do all that, and it takes another 2 hours to make it back and shit. Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. Just some of the drunken escapades I've had have been fucking retarded.
We back in the day we had a gator. And you know what a gator is?
I forget.
You got your friend. It looks like a golf cart, but it's like a truck bed in the back instead. And we threw it's got 2 seats in the front, and then you have the tailgate, and then we put this fucking keg in there. And there was like 5 of us, so we went back into the middle of the woods. And, I mean, it was just the middle of the night. We had this leftover keg with a bunch of beer, so we just go back into the woods. We find this random bench that none of us knew was there. And we got drunk for like 3 hours, just 5 of us on this fucking keg. And we're like, okay, who could drive us back? Like, we're in the middle of the woods. None of us really know where we are. And one of the guys goes, oh, I got this. So he gets on the driver's seat and he fucking turns it on and it hits the gas and just plows right into a tree. Shit. And it blows the tire out. And we're like 2.5 miles into the woods. Fuck. So we're like, which way are we going? So we spent like 3 hours getting back to the house. And we had to like wake up the dude's uncle to drive the truck out there, and like then we had to haul it back. We didn't get to bed till like 7 in the morning. But it was funny. I mean, whatever. Just drunken moments, man.
Weird shit.
All right, you ready for the next story?
One time, Darren Sproles, the football player.
Yeah.
He fucking bought me a fishbowl one time. Like, if you don't know what a fishbowl is, it's literally they bring out a giant fishbowl full of like cherry grenadine and like all this sweetened shit to cover up the fact that there's like 5 different Wells alcohols in it that just taste like ass. But it's so fruity and sugary that you don't really fucking
You
notice.
don't even know.
And it's but literally they bring it out to you in a literal fishbowl with this fucking with all this ice in it and shit. And so like I went to school with his younger brother, Terrence, and Terrence and I didn't like know each other super well or anything. Like I had other friends that were closer with him or whatever.
Yeah.
But like because of that, I at one point Darren, what I think my first year I was there, I think Darren was actually there and he played football and shit. He was fucking amazing. It was crazy. Even back then, it was crazy to watch. But like for whatever reason, I go to a bar with some friends and like here's fucking Terrence and Darren and like people that all these other people that I went to school with and shit. And like so I'm just like cool and I like order like everybody's ordering fish bowls and whatever. And I had rung up a tab that was like $30 or $40 at that point, and that was because I was drunk and had kind of gone a little fucking overboard. And in those days, I had no money, so I was kind of like sitting there worrying about what the fuck I was gonna do. This fishbowl, I like drained the whole thing and was like sitting there, kind of like just like next to Terrence and Darren and shit, and he, fucking Darren like big big nuts fucking football player just rolling out a stack of money like this and shit, and so we like I go to pay my tab, which they at Saints they hold your credit card and they give it back to you later.
No Saints.
Yeah, and so like so I go back and I get my card and like I'm like shit, I'm probably like $60 in the hole right now, and I'm like fuck, I'm like am I gonna buy food tomorrow? And I woke up the next morning and it turned and like I was checking my bank account and that fucking charge never showed up. So I had the only conclusion I've had after all these years is that Darren Sproles bought me a fucking fishbowl because I can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other explanation for why.
No,
that motherfucker must have paid for like all of our tabs quietly. Either that or they forgot to charge me.
That's awesome.
That's the only fucking way.
Are you ready for the next story?
Sure.
I was 18 years old at the time when I saw this dude get into a car that looked exactly like mine. There weren't many cars like mine, and it was a weird color. So when I saw this dude getting into the car and driving off, I thought he had stolen my car. So I got into a car and chased after him. Think about it. Clearly, they got their own car.
Yeah, shit. You gotta wonder about that.
But if you're that enraged, you probably don't think about it. That motherfucker, I'm fucking getting my car back, man.
I mean, it'd be like that sometimes, I guess.
You're gonna take my car and watch this shit.
I mean, I wish it said what kind of car, because that would explain a lot more. What kind of person are you? Are you getting mad about Lamborghini, or is it like some shitbox fucking Honda?
Some beat up old farm truck that like you can stick any key in and start.
Some piece of shit, and you're just like, ain't getting your hands on my Honda. Like, fuck.
I've had that Escort for 12 years, you motherfucker. You want an Escort, man?
I paid $500 for that piece of shit, and I will collect.
Have fun shitting that in the fourth gear, bitch.
You know it rubs between 2 and 3, right? You gonna have a hard time getting me away. Oh shit!
I'll catch you 2 blocks away when that muffler falls off. Okay?
They're gonna hear you from fucking Denver to San Francisco. I don't know.
Oh man. I've gotten mad at people thinking that no, actually I had an apartment and I got real drunk and I went to my car to go get something. And I came back and I walked into my house. There was a party going on, man. I'm like walking into my house. I'm like, dude, it's really fucking dark in here. I'm like yelling for people, no response. And I'm like, fuck it. So I just sat on the couch and I'm just like chilling there thinking to myself. And then this dude flips on the light, looks at me, and then I realize I'm not in my house.
I fucking did this. I did something similar. I wasn't drunk, but there's this pork. I don't know who they are, but my house is the apartment blocks that I live in. They're like each one is like separated, like it's its own building, right? So there's like a row of like 5 of these buildings, and each one has like 8 apartments in it or some shit. And they're each separated by a parking lot. And so like if when I'm coming home from work, sometimes I've been just like not paying attention and it's dark and shit. And so I pull up to the one I think is my house, and like this poor fuck couple, this happened like 5 times now. Like I fucking
Is this where you're at
they
now?
they don't yeah, no, they don't have, for some reason, they don't lock their doors. So like I walk up to the door, and I just hear a dog barking, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. I don't have a dog, and I'm just like, where the fuck is that coming from? But I just like instinctually, I'm already like opening the door, and like and shit, until I fucking realize, oh shit, this ain't my fucking house, and I fucking dash back out. And one of the times, like I started opening it, and I saw. And the guy was there, and we were like fighting back and forth with the door, and I was like, while I was in the middle of being like, oh fuck, and I hear his dog barking at me and shit. So like these poor fucking people are like, they're like being terrorized by this dumbass who's just like, this is my house. Get the fuck out of my house. Get your damn dog out.
I ordered online for Chick-fil-A, and my wife's in the car, and my daughter's in the back seat, and we're sitting in the parking lot. There's cars all around us, and I get out to go pick up the order in the store, and I'm coming back, and I'm fiddling with the food and stuff, and I go back to the car, and I'm trying to open the door, and the door's locked, and I'm like knocking on the window, still trying to fiddle with the food. And I look up, and this dude's like rolling down the window, and he goes, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Oh, my bad." And we were literally like one spot over. And so I go to get in my car, and my wife's like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, this." I just tried to get in that guy's car, and he just looks over and waves.
I don't know. Nah, fuck. I can't. I feel bad if they happen to watch this. It's so they probably never will see this. They'll never see this. But whoever the fuck they are, I'm so sorry. I'm just an idiot. It's not me trying to fucking invade your home or anything. I have severe attention deficit issues. Fucking holy shit. And it's like, if it happened one time, it would be like, oh yeah, there was that one crazy time. But it's like, this is like a serial event where they're like, I can only just imagine them sitting in their house. It's just like, is he coming now? Is he coming this week? When is he gonna show up again?
Tony Shannon cannon, hang on the wall.
Which is why I'm super. Now I'm actually paranoid about it now, because I'm worried he's gonna like have a gun.
Have you ever like ran into him outside during the day?
No, I have no idea who it is, but just in case he recognizes me, I'm gonna stay the fuck away from that. You know what I mean? Like, is that you trying to break into my house? Nope, sir, wasn't. I don't know what you're talking about. You must have been high or something. But I'm worried he's gonna have a gun one of these times or some shit. So I've been like extra. Now I'm like,
I feel like 5 times now he probably would have had a gun.
I'm like, well, yeah, that was the one time. Well, when I saw him fighting with me at the door, that's when I got real worried, and that was the last time it happened. Because like now I'm like, so now I'm driving home like, fucking, that's the right building, right? Like double, triple, fucking quadruple checking, because I don't want to get blasted just trying to fucking. And there's no way you can explain that to the cops. Yeah. Like, oh, I was just trying to get in the house.
Look at all these. Look at all of them, man. They all look the same. It's not my fault that guy's in my house.
It's like, I was just trying to go home, man. Like, it looks like you were trying to break.
Why are you mad at me?
Looks like you were trying to commit breaking and entering, actually. All signs point towards.
He switched the fucking numbers on the address.
Yeah.
That's my house.
It's all conspiracy. Just not a good look.
No. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
I was taking out my contacts before going to bed. I took out the first one and placed it on the overnight container. I tried to take out the second one, and it just wouldn't come out. I spent about 5 minutes trying to get the other contact out, all while pulling harder and harder. I decided to just give it one last good hard pull. Right before doing so, I realized that the contact I needed to remove was in the other eye. That sounds so painful.
What the fuck?
You're just like tugging on your eye. What the fuck
I
was
don't even know how that would work.
I don't know. I never had eye problems.
I can tell you contacts are fucking horrible,
Have
like
you
in
used
my
contacts?
personal opinion. So the doctor told me for whatever reason that I have a strong bleep reflex, apparently, like way abnormal. Because the only person that's ever been able to get it in is that guy. Like he just fucking like because he's done it 2 million times, so he's gotta like. But like, but for me, I will be there for 2 or 3 fucking hours, like I'm trying to put this shit in my eye and it'll fall out and it's all this crap. And it's like my eyes literally will just like squint like this while I'm trying to get them open and close, and like they just won't open correctly. And they're horrible and it feels weird. They dry out and they get all fucking weird. Like it's the only reason I still have this shit instead of
If I ever had any kind of like that kind of stuff, I'd do like some weird ass colored eyes or something.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that's what sucks is like stage performance stuff. I kind of wanted to fucking do some of that stuff, but like I can't. But I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. The show's gonna be over by the time I get him in. You know what I mean?
You guys are all ready for set.
Yeah,
5 minutes to play. Oh, I got
shit.
I still gotta get these fuckers.
It's gonna be like them Guns
did
N'
you see
Roses
where it
riots
went?
or some
Did
shit.
you see where it went, man?
Nah, fuck me. It's horrible. I have just worse luck with that shit. So
How about your vision?
it's okay. So that is clear right there.
That's it.
That's it. Damn. Like this is a little bit out of focus. That right about there is where it's like completely in focus. So it's pretty shit. Yeah. But it started when I was like real young, like 5 or 6 or 4 even. I think
earlier, what was it? It was a couple days ago, and this lady comes in searching for her hearing aid, and my immediate response was, "Huh?"
You can't fucking.
Huh? What are you?
Oh shit.
It's bad, but it's funny.
That's like the same feeling when you start talking to deaf people and they like and they just look at you funny like don't you understand the situation here? And I'm like, no, don't mind me, I'm just moving.
Or I'll like be yelling something halfway across the store, and somebody will be talking, and I'll have to like walk up to him like, "What? You couldn't read my lips? Of course, I got the mask on."
Yeah.
So I can't see.
Like on the flip side though, I think it's weird how many people come up to me and they're like, oh, I can't, oh, you're not smiling, and I'm like, you can't see my face.
You can tell.
Like they just assume weird. They
draw a smile.
Like they assume it's a weird situation. They just assume your facial expressions and shit. I get people mad. I just walk up and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, what'd you say to me? Like fucking weird.
You got a problem? Wait a minute. Wait, you guys aren't doing the mask right now, are you?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, well, the employees, right? You're not enforcing it.
No, we are.
Oh, are you now?
It's supposed to be state. Yeah.
I mean, it's so annoying though, because like for me, it's like you go up to somebody. And I've talked about this in other episodes, and I hate talking about it because it sucks, but it's so true. But like you go up to somebody, you're like, man, I really need to put your mask on. You can't enforce it. And you're right, but the city and state can. And then if I don't
we're not enforcing it for members. We're just for us. So I don't know what's going on.
We have to enforce it.
Really?
Unless you can properly social distance. But unless somebody's going to follow you around the store, unless an employee follows you around the store and make sure you're wearing your mask.
Yeah, because there's so many times I've told somebody to do it, and they just take it back off.
On a weekend when the 30-minute door count is 300
as soon as they think they're out of like eye shot.
Yeah, 300 some people in the store. There's no way you're social distancing.
Yeah.
But we've got.
I never stopped wearing mine, so it's just like because I knew it was coming back. I just knew. Like I was just like, there's just no way it wasn't from in my mind.
But so like they do this whole cocky. I don't know where, dude. This is a second round, dude.
Right.
Several months in. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, and the worst part is I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't change the fact that I need a paycheck, so I'm gonna wear my fucking mask.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't want to like. I have to be more careful because of Tasha for one thing, but like also I didn't want to just like have this period where I'm like, oh fuck yeah, it's finally off, and then have to go back to it. I was just like, this shit's coming back. I'm just gonna leave it on. That way, I don't have that weird middle period where I get comfortable with the opposite, or like because when we first started having to wear, I'm like cool, whatever. But at the same time, like I had always hated wearing shit on my face before that. because I've been in situations where you have to wear it because of like I did work in this fabrication company for like a few months or whatever at one point where you're sanding fucking metal and shit, so you have to wear a rest. There's no way around it. Like you do not want those shavings in your lungs, like by any means.
That sounds pretty appealing. I don't
know. No, I mean if you appreciate an early death, I guess if that's appealing to you, then sure.
It's just overtime suicide. That's what it is.
Yeah. So like we had to wear them then, and I just God sweating and shit, and because there's no AC in those warehouses. That was horrible, and I had already developed like a distaste for them to some degree, but I just got used to it, and so now that I'm finally used to it, I didn't want to go fucking that up, so I've kept it on this whole time, and it's probably a better idea anyway, so that my wife doesn't get sick with it or anything.
I get it. All right, we got one more story. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's go.
And then we'll bullshit for a few minutes and wrap up.
Let's go.
I was going to make some pizza rolls. Prepped the oven, put them in a pan, set the timer, and wandered off. Timer went off, oven was empty, pan was missing, remainder bag not in the freezer. Brother found the pan back in the cabinet a day later with the whole bag in
it. God, I wish my wife was here because she would have 50 stories about me doing shit
exactly like that.
Yeah, fucking just anything, like just like the amount of shit that I want. Okay. So I just remembered this. I went to I got off work and I went and bought groceries and I got a thing of milk, right? And so like because we needed milk or whatever. So I get home and I unpack all the shit and I'm like, fuck, where's the milk? And I'm like, fuck, maybe I didn't buy it and this is the thing that like having ADD will do to you is you'll start second guessing everything.
Yeah.
Like, because you just never know what the fuck dumb shit you just did. So you in this scenario, the possibilities are I bought the milk and left it somewhere, or I didn't buy the milk at all and thought I bought the milk and brought it home. And I went with, okay, I think I just thought that I brought the milk, or I must have like set it down somewhere or whatever. So then, fast forward, I get in my fucking accident that I mentioned and everything, and shit, and we get the car back to us like 4 months fucking later. It's been sitting in the heat and shit. Oh, sure enough, pull out a fucking gallon of milk.
Oh no! Oh, dude. That's so good.
Fucking, it just been, dude. That shit had been baking in there for like a whole month.
Oh, a science experiment.
Oh my god! And we were just like you open it. No, fuck no. Fuck no, it just went straight in the trash.
A swig, man.
Dude, jeez. Oh my god. You have immediate botulism for that shit, dude. I guarantee you.
And this is a little different, but my buddy had a lizard. And we drank the night before, and he's like, that's fine, man. We gotta get up early because I gotta take my lizard to the vet. Gotta get checked up. I don't even remember what it was about. And so we're driving, and his lizard breaks out of the fucking tank. And we're all in the truck. We're hungover, so none of us didn't even know, or the truck, or none of us knew where it was. Mm. So we're like searching for it. Eventually, we gave up because we're like, must have got out, man. Must have got out. It's fast forward a few months, and we kept noticing the smell coming from the vent in his car or his truck. And later on, when they takes it to the shop, they find his dead ass lizard in the vents where the heat they see him out. God, that is so good.
Okay, so this is a legiondary story amongst my friend group that I've been hanging out with for the last 20 years since like school. But so a friend of ours, this is why it reminded me because dead pets, you know what I mean? So my two of my friends are brothers, and they had a sister. Her name is Jamie. I don't feel bad saying her name because like everybody knows about it basically. I've told the story a billion times to other people. So like and so Jamie, we were a little ruthless to her, and it sounds mean at first, but she kind of asked for it a lot of the time because she would just do shit that was like, what the fuck, and she was very like, there's no getting around it. She was very fat, like extremely, and you at first that's like a scenario where most people would be like, oh, I feel bad for that person. They have an overweight issue. They have this and that going on, eating disorder. No, Jamie would sit there with a bag of hot dogs and a fucking giant bowl of popcorn, and that would be considered a snack to her. So this is completely self-induced.
Yeah.
So just to give you an idea of the type of person we're talking about. So like like any problems, and she ended up with like hypertension and all this shit. And none of us could feel bad for her because we're like, look at what you're doing to yourself. Like this is your fault.
She just sucks so much. She's like stepping. Like,
Dude, it was like gross. We would make fun of it, but we would be like, dude, you got a problem. What the fuck? And she just said dumb shit all the time, and so we made fun of her a lot for all that stuff because we did that to each other too. It was just like if you said something dumb, we'd call you out on it. And we all fucking make fun of you for it, and it was just accepted that that was the thing. And we did that to Jamie more often than anybody because she always did shit like that. And one of the times that they had these cats in the house, right? There was like 2 or 3 of them, and one of them at the time was like a kitten, and fucking Jamie like being literally like this, like 400, 500 pounds, like this big, fucking, goes out and sits down and like takes a nap or whatever, and the cat decided to like roll up on her and just cuddle with her while she goes to sleep, I think, or something like that. And she, in her middle of her sleep, fucking rolls over, and the cat follows and down into the couch, and she lays on the fucking cat and suffocates the shit out of it.
Legitimately
so like cat? Legitimately suffocated the cat with her body fat.
Oh, no.
So she has to wait. So she wakes up later and there's just like a weird smell or some shit, and she rolls over. Here's a fucking pancake cat. It's like, oh my god. Like, you know what I
mean? How'd your cat die? You really want to know?
Yeah, fucking weird. Oh my god.
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, just so we held her to that one for quite a while.
See how stupid animal does.
Fucking ridiculous.
I'm like 11 or 12, and we're going to Florida, and we're at my grandparents in Georgia. They have a couple acres in the woods, and we're eating breakfast one morning, and this fucking lizard comes running across the back porch, and my dad's like, I bet you can't catch that lizard. I was like, I bet I can. He's like, I'll give you $10 if you can catch it. So I go running out the back. He says I just disappeared into the woods. Yeah, I kind of remember this. And I come back like 15 minutes later with this lizard in my hands. And we put it in a mason jar and we go to Florida. Well, I had it sitting in the back window of the car for the whole ride there.
You didn't poke air holes or anything?
So we get to Florida. I go pick up the lizard because I was excited. I caught a damn lizard. And I knew something was wrong with it because it wasn't moving. It was just a statue lizard. And I go to pick up the jar and it just crumbles.
Just like dust.
I fried the shit out of it, man. I was so upset about it.
That sucks. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of too many others because my animals are usually pretty well taken care of, like historically speaking. So like
I've had too many, man. Yeah. I mean, there was a phase that we had so many animals. It seemed like every other year I was digging a grave for one.
Right. I mean that's part of owning them, you know. Just unfortunately,
we had so many over time. I mean,
they just don't live as long. They just don't, you know.
And depending on the animal, they only live 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I know. Or like a couple, you know. Some of them, like we had rats and shit, and they only lived 3 years.
So
one of the smartest, sweetest animals ever, dead like really quick though.
My biggest thing with animals dying, like some of your smarter ones, like dogs, like they know when they're about to pass, and they'll either want your attention or they don't. If they want your attention, they're right next to you, and it's like, oh man, that's so much. But I had one dog that crawled into the crawl space under our house, like the furthest away that you can get to it, and died. So then I have to crawl on my hands and knees underneath the house back to get the damn dog to drag his heavy ass corpse out of the damn crawl space. So I mean, I've dealt with so many of those situations that it's like, yeah, it hurts, but I've done it so many times. It's just like,
right. I mean, the worst ones for me was I had a dog named Jonah that was like that was my dog when I was growing up and shit. And we had to put him down because like they both both had this weird thing where their like tongues started turning blue and shit. We have no idea what the fuck it was, but like they both had this weird respiratory issue. It was like the same thing, and uh, Jonah, the other one's name was Carter, and Jonah we had to put down at some point because he was just like breathing like that. It was not good.
It's not fun.
And it did suck because like that like it made me not want to go be there for the dog of the death of the dog anymore. Like I was like all gung ho and be like, yeah, this is like my buddy. I'm gonna be there for him and all that. It's not a good idea. I've
Yeah.
seen it. It's not fun. Uh, they like he was laying in my lap and shit, and they put the shot in him, and I just felt his last breath go, and it was not cool.
Yeah, that's totally different.
You know, it sucks. Like yeah. So I'm just and Carter had like a seizure or some shit, so he was like
We had one that was like we had a dog that was like 17 years old, and it was literally chewing his legs off.
yeah.
Like, skin and bone. Like, it was just down to the bone because he was chewing,
Mm.
so he didn't even use one of his legs. So
Right.
we're like, that's time.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a euthanasia thing for sure. And it's like I mean you kind of know, but my wife has such an extensive animal background and shit, and that
So for her, it's gotta be like, it's gotta
Yeah.
be real heartfelt.
I mean, well, not only does she cares about every animal, like just all the same. It's an intense thing for her, but like but she has worked in a vet clinic and like the wildlife center and all that shit. So there's after a while when you work with it like that, in the same way, you kind of do get desensitized to it, but it still sucks to some degree.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But man, I will never forget. I'll never forget Jamie rolling over on that fucking cat. That was the most ridiculous thing.
My
and I can't imagine trying to fucking crawl under there and pull this fucking dead dog out would be like
my
the worst.
dad had a college buddy that had a 3-legged blind dog,
Oh yeah.
and they'd go party, get drunk, and sit down and just watch the dog run and stuff.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I mean, most of my animals, other than like I said, a few, been pretty. Haven't had too many issues. Just kind of whatever. So
Yeah.
that's about it for me.
Yeah, no, I
I don't
think
know.
that pretty much wraps it for this
Yeah.
episode, man. This has been fun.
Yeah,
It is.
cool.
I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Hey, whoever's watching, by the way, I did notice. I see you on there. I appreciate you. I'll have this uploaded on Spotify probably tomorrow. To everybody else that listens later on, I appreciate you listening and tuning in. Tony, thanks for coming on, man.
What's up?
Good friend of mine. I'm sure I'll have him on again sometime. So
Yeah, sure.
So-
Maybe then I'll have like some music to talk about or something.
yeah,
like
yeah,
something
he
that's
does
going
do
on with me.
music. So he's working on something right now. I imagine it'll be done at some point in the future.
Yeah, I have one album out, but like nobody like one of my friends bought it and then he lost it, so that it like almost doesn't count. Thanks, Sam.
If you're watching this,
Fuck you, Sam.
all right, you guys have a good one.
All right, good night.